Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, shall we welcome the former Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana and the entourage, our very own Her Ladyship Sophia A.B. Ekufu. Shall we all be seated? So welcome to the second edition of the induction ceremony of IPs. As we bring to you the second part, let me take this opportunity to acknowledge our sponsors as well, because they made all this thing possible. PwC, KPMG, Deloitte, Addison Bryce Loan, Intrakwa, the bank, Stanbic Bank, GCB, Fidelity Bank, among others. So in the course of the program, we'll be acknowledging you, and some of our guests who are also seated here will acknowledge you in the course of the program. Permit me to welcome our very own Mr. Felix Ado again to take us through the second segment. Please, let's put our hands together for Mr. Felix Ado.
Thank you, Hansen. Your Ladyship, Justice Sophia Akufu. Your Honor, Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tua Yibua. Madam Jemima Wari. All protocols observed. It's been a long day. Okay. No. Okay. Inductees, we are at the tail end of the program, and as one of the gentlemen remarked earlier at lunch, this is the most important part. And I hope you are all ready for today's induction ceremony. Okay. You are blessed in that you have Her Ladyship herself here. Her Ladyship is a very hot item on TV these days. And for her to take time off her very busy newfound role to come and be the chair for this occasion is an honor. Your Ladyship, we are most grateful. Okay. Now, I have a few remarks to make, and then I'll hand over the mic to Her Ladyship. Okay. Remember in the morning, the rep from Bank of Ghana, that's Elliot Amwaku, kept referring to Madam Chairman. Now, unfortunately, I'm not in any way near capable of filling the shoes of Her Ladyship. And so that reference appropriately belongs to Her Ladyship. You all know her as the successor to the position of Chief Justice in Ghana after another ladyship, Justice Wood, retired. Okay. She was appointed to the position in 2017. Okay, they mentioned your age here. I will skip that. You know, Her Ladyship received a bachelor's in law degree from the University of Ghana, following which she attended the Ghana School of Law, where she obtained her qualification as a barrister in Ghana, and was called to the Ghanaian bar in 1975. She also has a master's degree in law, LLM, from Harvard University. Her Ladyship was originally appointed to the Supreme Court of Ghana by former President Rawlings in 1995 and served on the court successively until her appointment as Chief Justice. And so she has the enviable record as having been the longest serving Supreme Court judge in Ghana. She deserves a round of applause. She was nominated to the position of Chief Justice in 2017 by His Excellency President Nana Akufo-Addo and was approved by the Parliament and sworn into the role by the President. Additionally, her ladyship was one of the very first judges for the African Court on Human and People's Rights in 2006. She was re-elected after her 2-year term ended for an additional 6-year period. During this period, she served as the vice president of the court for 4 years and the president for 2 years before she left the African Court in 2014. Besides working on the African Court on Human and People's Rights, our former Chief Justice was a member of the Disciplinary Committee of the General Legal Council and was a member of the Committee of the Commonwealth Judicial Education Institute. Her ladyship retired from the position of Chief Justice in 2019 on the eve of her 70th birthday. And we were chatting earlier in the waiting room while we retire at the peak of our prowess and of our decision-making abilities. Okay. Because in other jurisdictions, they keep going. One day they make a decision, they go home, have a good night's sleep, and off they go. But in Ghana, we seem to retire all the brightest brains when we hit a certain age. And probably that's something we need to look at. Okay. Since her retirement, she's been appointed as chair for the COVID-19 Trust Fund by His Excellency, the President. You all know the fund. It was a very successful fund. And don't confuse that with the other fund, which, which was in charge of, that's the private sector fund. There was a private sector fund. And I believe we had a government also fund, the national fund. Okay. And then the charity fund. Okay. The audit seems to have been mixed up, but no. Anyway, what many of you may not know is that her ladyship is also the chairperson for the Garia Trust Fund. Okay. You won't. My ladyship, we are delighted to have you in our midst this afternoon. And thank you for coming. Okay. I will now hand over the mic to you. You are our chairman or chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ado, for that long introduction. The Honorable Deputy Attorney General of Ghana, the Registrar of Companies, inductees, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I think now I can say good evening because it's 5 o'clock. Good evening. And I welcome you to this induction ceremony of the second cohort of licensed insolvency practitioners. I know that the inductees have been here since 8 a.m. So I'm going to be very brief because you must be exhausted, and I really salute you for your resilience, and it just goes to show how determined you are to start as performing as practitioners in your new field. Today is an important day, not just for yourselves, but also for insolvency practitioners in general. And most importantly, for our beloved nation, Ghana. Modern insolvency practice, as I'm aware, is only beginning to take root in this country, and therefore the profession is still at a developmental stage. And this process of grandfathering is part of the ongoing process of building a well-functioning institution managed and operating and in the capable hands of well-trained, and competent people. I'm sure that this morning you would have been given a guided tour through the recent history of business rescue by Professor Emeritus Fiajo, my former lecturer, and have been familiarized with the role of insolvency practitioners by the President of the Governing Council, Mr. Felix Addo. We all know that institutions are not built overnight. Similarly, insolvency institutions cannot be said to be built merely because you have been grandfathered, or because laws have been passed or regulatory frameworks have been developed. Not at all. Though doubtlessly procedural systems are very important to support, but they are there only as support structures. We only have to take a look at our recent experience of financial governance to see how ineffectual, unresponsive, and dysfunctional national institutions have been in managing state insolvency. In my view, therefore, effective institutions are built on well-rooted value systems and informed by the character of the individuals who have been entrusted with the responsibility of discharging the functions of the office they hold. Institutions are not inanimate objects. They are embodiment of human will and societal desire. Hence the importance of this day. As insolvency practitioners, to be licensed and individually scrutinized and passed as fit and proper persons to be sworn in, your character matters. Your stewardship of office matters to the stakeholders that you represent and to the reputation of this profession, and for successful building of institutions that support insolvency practice. I'm sure that you were attentive this morning to the presentation on the Code of Professional Ethics and Conduct of Insolvency Practitioners given by Governing Council member, the Honorable Vicky Bright, and the presentation on practice management by my friend and classmate and longtime colleague from the legal fraternity, Mr. Felix Ntrakwa. Where is he? I saw him when I was coming in. I think he has left. Now, I'm assured that the Governing Council and the Registrar of Companies will not hesitate to exercise disciplinary action against any member that brings this profession into disrepute. The relevance of any profession is the value it offers to society. So I pose the question, what is the impact of the insolvency profession on our society? Your profession is located within the engine room of our economy. You must therefore elevate yourselves and be heard on matters relating to the economy, business rescue, and the efficiency of insolvency practice. Your proximity to business leaders, investors, and financiers means that the profession is well placed to offer clear-eyed, meaningful insight and implementable recommendations to shape the economic architecture of this country and ensure that entrepreneurship flourishes for the common good of all stakeholders. Seated amongst you are accountants, business advisors, financiers, lawyers, and others drawn from the public and private sectors. Today, you join an elite group of individuals dedicated to serving society in a special way. The question I would like to ask and to leave you with today is what will be your contribution to your profession and our beloved country, the Republic of Ghana. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Ladyship, for your words of wisdom. Once again, we are grateful that you made the time to join us. Chair, with your permission, we would like to invite the Honorable Alfred Tua Ibua. He is standing in for the Honorable Attorney General. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you very much. In fact, I spoke to Mr. Ado not to give any profile of mine, because when I listened to that of the former Chief Justice, I realized that he was called to the bar in 1975. The very year maybe I came into this world. So I said, yes, I should just give up and then walk quietly. I bring you greetings from the Honorable Attorney General. He wanted to be here, but in view of other assignments, he had to travel yesterday to Italy. So he's here with you through me. And whatever I'm going to talk to you about, it's his deed. But whatever mistakes that may come out of it, they are my own deeds. We have an affable and astute chairman, and this will have a small comment. Chairman, anytime I go to a program, I realize that a respectable lady is chairing. The trend has been that you use chairperson. And then I remember way back in Legon, one of the professors made a certain comment. You say, if you talk about chairperson, my lady, with all due respect, the last three alphabets, S-O-N, son. Is it not a man? Now, if you also use chairman, the last three alphabets, man, then let's do that last one, chairwoman. That one to use the last three alphabets, man. I think that's the very reason why maybe I have to adopt the one I've been offered by my lady, that you should be chair lady. That one. then. Your ladyship, Justice Sophia Akufu, Mrs. Jimama Oware, my own sister, who is the Registrar of Companies, Mr. Felix Ado, the President of Garia, Garia Council and members, inductees. I know some of you were my mates in secondary school. I will not mention the names. Some were my mates in the university. Friends from the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased and privileged to participate in the induction ceremony for the second cohort of insolvency practitioners licensed by the Registrar of Companies with the assistance of Garia under the Corporate Insolvency and Restructuring Act, 2020 Act 1015. Today's ceremony constitutes one of the building blocks for the revised regime for companies in Ghana who started with the enactment of the Companies Act 2018, Act 992, and continued with the Corporate Insolvency and Restructuring Act 2020, Act 1015, which I shall refer to as CIRA. The purpose of CIRA is the provision of a legal regime for the administration of the business, property, and affairs of a distressed company in a manner that provides an opportunity for the company to, as much as possible, continue in existence as a going concern, for the temporary management of the affairs, business, and property of a distressed company, and placing of a temporary freeze on the rights of creditors and other claimants against a distressed company, and so on and so forth. The SIRA Act also mandates my office, when I say my office, the Attorney General's office, to ensure that Garia is transformed into a statutory body in compliance with Section 171 of SIRA. Ladies and gentlemen, the new Companies Act and its companion act, the SIRA, are a major achievement in advancing the case of doing business in Ghana to the effect that when a business becomes distressed, the first initiative of its creditors should not be to liquidate it, as this is not healthy for development of the private sector. Where a business can be saved by restructuring, every effort should be made by skilled professionals to save it by restructuring it. Therefore, there is now the need to encourage lawyers, accountants, and bankers to take an interest in the restructuring profession. Garia has the responsibility to arrange for capacity building of professionals in the skills of restructuring. It will eventually arrange qualifying examinations for prospective insolvency practitioners, IPs. For now, the first and second batch of IPs have been given a foundation training by Garia before their induction. I wish to congratulate the new IPs while urging them to comply with the highest professional standards in the conduct of their responsibilities. The government expects them to work hard to enable the new regime to succeed in the interests of the economic development of Ghana and to abide by the professional ethics that have been crystallized by Garia. Indeed, I recommend to the government that IPs should be invited by ailing state-owned enterprises to help turn them around. As you may know, a substantial number of state-owned enterprises currently exist on subventions, contrary to the enabling legislations, which require of them to at least break even in the execution of their mandates. Very few state-owned enterprises generate profits to pay dividends to government for the significant investment made on them. The situation has been worsened by the global pandemic, COVID-19. And so COVID has surfaced here. It's good that now, anytime we hear COVID, yes, it's something that we all need to be thinking about. And I recommend that qualified and competent insolvency practitioners, such as you, should be allowed to assist in the restructuring of these corporations or companies. Today marks the first step in the new trusts to put an emphasis on rescuing enterprises when they become distressed. The Office of the Attorney General will work cooperatively with the Registrar of Companies and Garia to ensure the success of the new regime. SIRA contains provisions that enable the sanctioning of aberrant IPs, and therefore you should endeavor to ensure that your conduct and performance are always above board and compliant with the highest professional standards. I wish you every success in your new responsibilities. Let me end by commending Garia for the work it has done in this area. Garia, I understand, was established in 2006 with the objective to play a leadership role in corporate restructuring, corporate governance, business recovery, and insolvency in Ghana. Garia is a Ghanaian affiliate of INSOL International, a worldwide federation of practitioners who specialize in business turnaround and insolvency. As you may know, Garia was a leading advocate for the reform of the two principal business laws, that is, the Companies Act and the Corporate Insolvency and Restructuring Act, since its inception 15 years ago. Once again, I thank the organizers, Garia, and the Office of the Registrar of Companies for their kind invitation and best wishes to the inductees for a successful practice in assisting our distressed companies. Thank you very much, and may God bless us all.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. Yes, we will work very collaboratively with your office and also SIGA to help turn around distressed state-owned enterprises. Thank you. Okay. Now, we come to the final part of this evening's activities. And basically, it's the taking of the oath, and then you are signing the register. The oath will be administered by the Honorable Deputy Attorney General. Okay. So all of you should be upstanding.
Thank you very much. I hope you all have copies of the oath. Yes, so you say after me, but I mention your name first, then we go on. I do in the name of the Almighty God swear that I will at all times well and truly serve in the profession of an insolvency practitioner, and that I will uphold, preserve, protect, and defend the tenets, principles, and philosophies of the insolvency and restructuring laws of Ghana. And that I will at all times conduct myself in accordance with the Code of Professional Conduct and Ethics as issued by the Registrar of Companies and the Ghana Association of Restructuring and Insolvency Advisors. So help me God. Congratulations.
Good evening to everyone, your leadership, and the Honorable Deputy Attorney General. I think I was quite confused when I was asked to be the valedictorian because I don't recall writing any paper and getting any marks more than anyone here. And I think if I look at the people in this room, if we were to write an exam, I certainly know I'm not going to come first. So there may be other reasons for today. But I think all of you will agree that it's been quite a long day. And I must say, I have earned this certificate or license quite well. I don't think in all my life there's any license or certificate I have that have earned so much as today from the time that we have spent here. But we are very grateful to Garia. We are very grateful to the Governing Council for the opportunity given us and the training that we received today. I think it's a great time for us to be licensed. I think when I look at our legal landscape and the whole corporate landscape, it's a time for what I call unlearning and relearning. Because I have, when I hear the dates that your ladyship were mentioned in her resume, I'm not going to dare mention mine at all. But I think in the short time that I have been practicing, I think in the last few years has been a time of great change in our landscape. And if you look at in the last few years, the Companies Act, the CIRA, and the fact that we are going through a process of new legislation, for instance, the subsidiary legislations under the Companies Act, the CIRA regulations, which is now being reviewed by the board. I know that some names were mentioned as having rejected it. I don't think that's quite accurate. But the board is reviewing the regulations. There's also the CIRA bill that is being passed. So there's a period of great change. And I think we have the opportunity to almost unlearn all the things that we know and relearn new things. And I think that we are, on behalf of the inductees, we are very much ready, able, and willing to practice and pursue this new profession with diligence and integrity, like we do in all our professional lives. And I know that everybody's tired, so I'm not going to say anything much more. We are very grateful, and we look forward to more opportunities to learn at the feet of the Governing Council and to participate in programs that Garia will provide for us. So we're very grateful, and thank you very much.
I think your valedictorian had made an excellent representation of the class, of the second cohort of the grandfathered class. At this point, let me retire and hand over to the chairlady of the evening. Thank you. Your ladyship.
Thank you. And I'm sure everybody is feeling, oh, she's going to talk again. No, I'm not. I don't have anything to say. All I have to say is, firstly, congratulations to each and every one of you. And you're a special group of people who are going to do wonders to the business world of Ghana. And I'm sure that the situations and the ethos and the conditions that were in the minds of people like Professor Gawa when they wrote our original company's code and wrote a really wonderful piece of law. I recall in Harvard, Justice Professor Baxter, when he found out I'm from Ghana, he said, oh, you are so lucky. You've got the most beautifully written company's code. It was very beautifully written, but because certain necessary things were not done, including the setting up of a practice such as you are now going to be practicing. So now, finally, we're going to have to concertina time, and we are where we should have been in 1960. But God has a way of giving us acceleration once we position ourselves properly, and you are going to be part of the acceleration. So once again, congratulations and Godspeed, each and every one of you.